Welcome back to your nightmares, my children. This is Mr. Midnight speaking. I welcome you all to my humble abode. I am going to be feasting on your fears, pains, and sorrows. So come into my little lair and let me plunge you into your nightmares. This is a special time of year for joy and happiness, but let me change that for you. We will be renaming Christmas to Nightmas, so make sure you are ready because I am going to scare you to death. Let's begin, and always remember, the darkness always follows. Now I will leave you with my narrator, so enjoy.
Number 1. Creepy Christmas encounter in the forest. This is my first post here. This just happened about an hour ago, so my memory is fresh. First off, I am living very rural, in a small village with maybe 10 to 15 houses, but close to the highway, and also about 10 minutes away from the town. If you cross the street, it just takes you about 10 minutes walk to reach the forest. This is the first Christmas day. In the afternoon, my partner and I decided to go for a little digestive walk as we were really stuffed from all the food. It was about 5 p.m. and already dark when we left, and we had a big and bright LED flashlight with us. I also took my camera and my flash, as I love taking pictures of nature at night. We decided to walk on a little country road towards the forest and then turn right, following a small gravel cycle track close to the forest border, which connects our village and the next. In the middle part of the track, you have to walk through a small bit of forest. It's rather dark and the trees are very high and quite dense. When we entered, I saw a flashlight reflecting on something and recognized a car being parked there on the side of the track, close to the trees. This struck me as odd, as cars are not allowed to drive there and the path is very narrow and hidden. So I was a bit cautious. My partner pointed the light inside of the car and it seemed to be empty. I also noticed the windows were frozen, so it must have been parked there for a while. A bit in front of the car, I spotted a tree with an intriguing structure, and I asked my partner to point the flashlight towards it so I could focus better and take a picture with my flash. After I took a few images, my partner told me, there is someone standing behind us in the middle of the road. He is looking at us. Nobody was following us the whole time. I kept looking around and behind us occasionally, because at this time in the evening and close to the border of the forest, there are boars sometimes. And it's mating season, so they are more aggressive than usual. Indeed, there was a man standing behind us, staying out of the flashlight's reach. He wasn't saying anything, just standing there and facing us. At first, I thought he might be startled, as it may seem a bit weird if someone's just taking pictures around your car. I decided to get up and confront him from a distance, explaining to him that I was just taking photos of that tree. He didn't react and still just stood there. I then went on to ask him if he needed some light, and he replied that this wasn't necessary. It was odd, but I was still calm, sure about there being a normal explanation for his behavior. Nonetheless, my partner and I decided to just get out there and follow the path leading to the next village. It was maybe 5 to 7 minutes until we reached it. I remember the letters on his license plate, not the numbers though, unfortunately, and googled it, and it turned out that he was from a city about 6 hours away from our village. Mind you, the country I live in is in a very strict lockdown right now, so you are only allowed to travel if you have very urgent reasons. After we reached the first lantern of the next village, we looked back and observed the car driving a bit out of the forest, turning around and going back inside. I was able to see that he parked there again and turned the lights off. He didn't leave the forest. We then went home on a much longer way than I initially intended, as I didn't want to go back there for obvious reasons. Our flashlight battery died on the way and my phone battery was low, so I didn't want to call the police back then. But I called them as soon as I arrived home and gave them all the details. Big regret that I didn't memorize the whole license plate, but it was just so surprising that I seriously didn't think about it. Also, it only occurred to me as really strange when I thought about the frozen windows and that he could impossibly have walked behind us. Plus him having no light and not responding, he did seem to be sneaking up on us when I sat down to take that photo. I think I was very lucky to have my partner, the camera, and the bright light with me. I don't want to imagine what could have happened if I was alone. So creepy guy sneaking around in the forest. Let's not meet again. Edit. When I told my housemate, she theorized that he may have been spying on the houses very close to the forest border, as you can easily look into their backyards without being seen. I had the thought of photoing the car when I entered the forest part of the path, but somehow I felt unwell about it and decided not to do it, despite it being an interesting scene. In hindsight, I believe this saved me, as he must have hidden behind the trees close to the car and forest entrance. If he was really planning a burglary, or worse, dumping a body, I think it's not unlikely he may have attacked me if he realized I had a potential photo of his car with a recognizable license plate. Update. Went back and found a tape marking on one of the trees, a very small hideout. More to store things than to sit in, as well as some cut off part of a backpack. Number 2. Creepy car incident. I'm not sure if this was paranormal or not, but this morning my mum and I were in her car driving to work for a Christmas thing, where the locks in her car started locking and unlocking quickly and repeatedly, as though someone was playing with the locks. It could probably be explained as a car malfunction, but it's never done that before. And the creepy thing is that we were passing an area where there was a bad accident a day or two prior, and as soon as we were away from the area, the lock stopped. In the moment, we didn't know how to react, so we paused our conversation and just looked at each other like, what? Then turned the radio up and pretended like it wasn't happening. Number 3. 4 a.m. Christmas morning. So myself and a friend had something happen the other day. Me and my friend left another friend's house about 4 a.m. It's dark, the street lights have just come back on. They get turned off at 1 a.m. every day, they come back on at 4 a.m. every day to save money. And it's a clear night, there are a couple of clouds in the sky, looks nice with the moon and everything. Anyways, my friend and I are walking for just about 2 minutes and we go around the corner of the road. It's a dead-end road, one way in, one way out, and it goes downhill. And in front of us, about 50 meters away, there are 5 people. 2 children, and what looks like their parents and an elderly woman. It's a bit odd. A family out at 4 a.m. stood under a street light. It's not impossible, but people are unpredictable. As we get closer, they look really odd. White shirts, beige trousers and dresses, exactly the same colours. Again, not impossible, just odd. As we get closer, across the road from them now, and you can see how daunting they look. They have black rings around their eyes. They don't look healthy, sunken faces. It's quite creepy now, but even creepier when they just stare, eyes following the whole way. My friend, who is female, is clearly terrified that something isn't really sitting well with them. So we walk on a bit faster. I grab her closer to me, just in case anything happens. I'd rather she get away safe. So we carry on for literally seconds before a stone flies by and hits the pavement in front of us. It made us jump. My friend was even more scared now. I got annoyed, so turned to confront them, and they're gone. They were there mere seconds before, and now completely gone from where they were. There is nowhere to hide, no other ways out of that road. They'd have to run past us to get away. We started running down the road, away from where they were. My friend is crying. I'm getting tense. I hate darkness, and honestly, I was so scared. So I tell her to hold on to me and stay close, and we move as fast as we can further down the road. The road itself takes about 10 minutes to walk down. We are probably 6 minutes in and looking behind us constantly. We get to the end of the road, turn around again, and nothing. And the lights turn off only for about 20 seconds, and we are now submerged in darkness. We cannot see much, but we see at the end of the road a bus stop. And at that bus stop, we see 5 people. 2 children, their parents, and the elderly lady. Just standing there, staring. We have nowhere else to go now. I tried calling my friends to see if they were awake, but their phones were dead, so I couldn't contact anyone. My friend was still scared, and so was I, but I started to get angry, so I marched towards them to ask them what are they playing at. The lights turn back on, which makes me jump. I look around me, I grab my friend, and I head towards them, but they are gone. I still have their faces and clothing all imprinted in my mind. This was Christmas Day morning, so 4 a.m. Christmas Day. My friend doesn't understand what happened, and I for sure don't. We've tried to talk to friends about it, but they think the darkness tricked our minds. It's something I can't stop thinking about, and I dream about it. More nightmares, and I can barely sleep since. Any suggestions? It sounds crazy, but I don't care. This happened. And now I will be reviewing each story and also mentioning the authors. And these stories can be found on Reddit. So the first story is by the Reddit user Z4160, and the title of the story was Creepy Christmas Encounter in the Forest. It was very creepy and stalkerish, and it freaked me out while reading it. I enjoyed it and will give it about a 10 creepy on a 10 creepy scale. And if I was in your situation, I would not even go into any forest or at all. I'd stay clear. The second story was by Rudely Noodle, and it was named Creepy Car Incident. It wasn't as scary, but it was an amazing story, amazing idea, and anyone in that situation would be scared. But it could easily have been a problem with the car. It could be a malfunction. So I would suggest you go see a mechanic, and I give it a need to get the mechanic to check the car. It's very important. And the final story was by Falling to the Ancients, and the story name was 4 a.m. Christmas morning. Now that story sounds like a movie, a proper paranormal ghost story. And if that happened to me, that situation happened to you, I'd also be having nightmares. It's worthy of an Oscar. 100 out of 10. So thank you all for listening, and I have to thank all the people that let me use their stories in this video. And until next time, take care, and make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Bye.
Thank you for listening, my children. I can see you filled with fear, and it is exhilarating and tasty. I'll see you again very soon. So until then, love the darkness, as it always follows.
servers and killed the club.